Okay, so now that World's Strongest Man is done, let's talk about the leaked Luke Stoltman audio clip, because there was a lot said on that that's some alarming, some not so much. Now, firstly, let's summarize it. So basically what Luke said was that he gets paid a retainer, as does his brother Tom, to compete at Giants Live and Giants Live affiliated events, pretty much be as exclusive as possible to them. And in return, Colin basically said he'll promote the Stoltman brand, give them a £1,000 per month retainer, and also give them some more favourable groups, qualifying groups and events at World's Strongest Man 2022. Now, you can't really fix events. It's near impossible, because even if you have events that you are good at, and let's say Colin puts a few that are good for the Stoltman brothers, there are still going to be at least 5 to 10 other guys who are also very, very good at that event. So it's nearly impossible to fix an event, but it is not impossible to fix a qualifying group. So that's basically what Luke said. However, to come to Luke's defense, he says that's really not how he feels. They had that conversation with Mark Boyd. It was a confidential conversation. He didn't know it was being recorded. Now, Mark said he didn't record it. I must come to his defense there, although he did leak it. And that's not exactly how Tom and Luke feel. And also, several other athletes are paid retainers. So he's not really doing anything wrong by being offered a retainer. And that's right. There is nothing corrupt about that. In fact, it's very nice of Colin, because there's no money in Strongman, and he's offering them money, which I think is perfectly acceptable. Now, when we look at the World's Strongest Man 2022 qualifying groups, we can see 5 groups here, 3 of which are pretty difficult, 1 being extremely difficult and 2 being more easy. Now, group 3 would be the death group. There are 4 athletes that are definitely finalist material there, just fighting for 2 spots. Now, group 4 would be probably, for me, one of the other tough groups in Group 2. Now, in Group 2, you've got at least 3 athletes who are finalist material, competing for just 2 spots. Group 4, you've got, in theory, just 2 people competing for the finals: Martins Lisis and Maxime Boudreau. But Pavlo Kodiaka and Shane Flowers are also incredibly competitive, and they would have put up a fight, and they did put up a fight until Shane had to pull out from an injury for that final space to go through to the finals. So Group 1 is the easiest, and Group 5 is the easiest groups. Now, Group 5, we only had Aithor Melsted, Evan Singleton, who was the favourite really to go through with Luke, Kelvin de Ruyter, who's shown talent but definitely not finalist material, Kim Lorentzen, I didn't even know who he was until World's Strongest Man, and then we got Coco, who again, not really finalist material, albeit he's an upcoming promising strongman. So, that's definitely the best group to be in. Luke pretty much had it made. He only needed to put 60% effort in to go through to the finals in that group. With Group 1, we have Kevin Fez, Ivis Morkstellis. Both of those guys were definitely finalist material and would have put up a fight to go through to the finals. That's before we knew the results. I didn't see Gabriel Rayom going to the finals, so that would have, in theory, when the groups were made, been the second best group to be in. So based on this information, we can safely say that the Stoltman brothers found themselves in the best group. Was that due to the fact that they performed very well at Giants Live and Giants Live affiliated events, or was it maybe some favoritism? Maybe Colin put them in those groups. I don't know. I have no evidence to back that up. I wasn't there. I don't know Colin. I've never met him. I've never spoke to him about this. You make your own opinion on that. I'll leave you to interpret that information how you wish to. But I have no evidence to say that this was fixed. I mean, yes, Luke did say it in a leaked audio recording, but he denies it. He denies it now. And he says that he was coerced into saying that, and he just said what he had to say because that's what they kind of wanted to hear. And he was talking to World's Ultimate Strongman co-founder, which is obviously something that he would have wanted to hear. So it's tough to go off just Luke Stoltman's evidence. You need more evidence to really prove that there is corruption. It could be favoritism. It could be just because they perform well at Giants Live. But as I said, if that's the case, then Alexei Novikov should have been in Group 5 or Group 1. But anyway, let's move on. So, Unfortunately, when we look at the data, you can back up that potentially Luke and Tom got those groups based on very good performances at Giants Live events. I mean, look at Luke in particular. 2nd Europe's 22, 10th at the Brits 2020. We got 6th at Giants Live, the Strongman Classic, 1st at Europe's Strongest Man 2021, 4th at the Brits 2021, 1st at Giants Live 2021, Glasgow live tour, live finals. Amazing performances. Tom won World's Strongest Man 2021. He won the Brits 2022, 2nd at the Giants Live Finals in Glasgow, 10th at the 2021 Arnold UK Giants, and won the Brits in 2021. So both of them have done very well in the past 2 years in Giants Live and Giants Live affiliated series. So that does entitle them maybe to a more preferable group. The better you perform, the easier the qualifying group you should really find yourself in, right? That's fair. That sounds fair in theory. But if that's the case, we must look at Alexei Novikov, who was in the death group. He has performed just as well at the Giants Live events and Giants Live affiliated events. 1st at the Europes 2022, 3rd at Giants Live World Open, 2nd at the 2021 Arnold UK Giants, 2nd at Europe's Strongest Man 2021. That should entitle him to a much better group than that god-awful death group. So maybe that theory doesn't apply then. Maybe it's the groups are chosen based on Colin's discretion and then what he feels would be the best groups. Now, based on Luke's leaked audio clip, you put those two together, you might have a few questions regarding, is corruption actually happening? Because we don't know how those groups are really chosen. We're not there. It's not done at random. It's not done live in front of all of us to see who goes in where. So it's interesting, right? It's interesting when you analyze it. Now, when we look at World's Strongest Man after 2009, the producers and promoters, the sports production company that owns the rights to it, IMG TWI, they put on World's Strongest Man, and in 2009 they gave the exclusive rights to Giants Live Limited to be the qualifying series for World's Strongest Man, and also official Strongman Worldwide, which is owned by Colin, Darren, and the Eddie Hall and Eddie Hall's wife. That's also linked with qualifying for World's Strongest Man. So those perform well in those, and you'll find yourself in World's Strongest Man. Okay, and the Strongman Champions League is how you qualify to get to Giants Live. You finish in the top 5 in that, you get to go to Giants Live events. But also, official Strongman Worldwide has a series called the SBD Official Strongman Games, which can also find you qualifying for Giants Live and official Strongman Worldwide events. So that's how it works now, but that's not always how it has worked. Before 2009, there was a better system, I believe, in place. Probably not. Colin and some other people might disagree with that statement, but same production, World's Strongest Man production company, but there was kind of 2 series that operated, which entitled, if people done well on those series, they then find themselves at World's Strongest Man. They were like the qualifier series to get to World's Strongest Man. But there's a whole load of controversy, loads of stuff behind this. I'm not going to go into it in this video because it would take me like another 20 minutes to talk about it all. But basically the Strongman Super Series and the IFSA events that were organised, that's how you can qualify to get to World's Strongest Man. And I actually preferred these. I preferred the Strongman Super Series shows than I did World's Strongest Man Giants Live shows. I didn't enjoy them as much as I enjoyed the Strongman Super Series shows. You can agree with that or disagree with that. And the IFSA events as well, they put on some great events that were very, very entertaining, and I kind of felt this was a better system, having a few more ways to qualify for World's Strongest Man. But that's not the case anymore. It's really just Giants Live, and it's based on Colin's discretion as well. So this is Mark Boyd basically, unfortunately, having to come out and say that he is no longer affiliated with WUS, World's Ultimate Strongman, and Core Sports. And here we go. Have a listen for yourself.
That being said, this is not for the betterment of WUS. This is for the betterment of the sport. I only released necessary information to initiate talks of corruption, knowing full well if I was to release more, it would be to the detriment of the sport. I will add, this is not the end for me in the promotion of Strongman.
And here's Core Sports and World's Ultimate Strongman statement. To summarise it, they basically said, we don't agree with Mark Boyd, we're no longer affiliated with him, we don't think that he took the right action on how to confront this issue, we don't agree with his approach, and thus forth we're no longer affiliated with him in any shape or form, and we want to apologise to all the stakeholders, the fans, the athletes, the sponsors, etc. in the sport. That's because there's been a lot of backlash around this, a lot of people saying don't be a wuss, which is basically athletes saying don't join World's Ultimate Strongman. So I think that that's why they've come out and had to condone Mark Boyd, because they need the athletes, they need the sponsors, they need the fans. Bit of a slap in the face for Mark, but I'm absolutely positive that when he leaked that audio clip, he knew that this was the most likely outcome, that he'd have to step down from Core Sports and World's Ultimate Strongman. But he did it for the better of the sport. It was either going to go one or two ways. Probably about a 70% chance of it going the way it has, i.e. he's lost a lot, or that very small percentage, 30% chance of actually him being painted as the hero whistleblower and there being massive change instantly, and it would affect the world's strongest man this year. But that wasn't the case, right? In fact, it all kind of blew up in his face, and lots of athletes don't want anything to do with him, don't want anything to do with us anymore, and it really hasn't quite gone to plan. Now, the main reason why that's the case is because Luke Stoltman is the Mother Teresa, the Gandhi of Strongman. He is the nicest guy in the world. He is kind-hearted. He's got great sportsmanship. He's a loving husband, a fantastic brother, fantastic son. He's always got a bubbly personality. He's always happy to greet fans and say hello. Every athlete gets on well with him. He gets on well with all athletes. He's fair, he's honest, he's sincere, and he's just a lovely human being. Like, honestly, one of the nicest guys ever in the history of Strongman. So the fact that Mark Boyd is friends with him, and then Mark stabbed him in the back by leaking what was a confidential private conversation, that didn't go down well. And that's why a lot of people are saying he's a snake, he's a rat. And I think that's why there's backlash. I think that has distracted everyone from what was actually said in the clip. Okay, now if you were asked me if I was in a similar situation, and it was my friend, I would not leak the clip, because there's kind of a brotherhood with friendship. You know, you don't stab your bro in the back. You don't stab your friend in the back. You would ask for consent first. If he said, no, I'm sorry, I don't want you leaking that clip, it would damage my family's and my brand, and just cause me a lot of grief right before World's Strongest Man begins, I would have said, right, okay, I'll delete it. You'll never hear a word of this again. But, you know, Mark Boyd loves Strongman. He does. It's his life. It's his love. And, you know, when you get a leaked audio clip like this, you're kind of split in two ways. Do you stab your best friend in the back and be painted as a villain? But at the same time leaking it and hopefully having change in the sport, more transparency, more sharing of power. Is it worth it? I mean, it's a really hard place to be in. And he's had this clip since September 2021. So he said that he exhausted all avenues in trying to make change. Like, he went to IMG, he went to all kinds of different athletes. He tried to get people to get on board with what he's saying, to make change without having to leak this clip. He kind of implied this was like the last and final option. He had no other option. But, you know, to sit on that for so long and leak it the day before World's Strongest Man, when Luke is trying to get in the state of mind, like, I want to win, I need to win, and the same with Tom, that's kind of also a slight dickhead move. I mean, it would have been better to leak it a month before, albeit it wouldn't have had the same effect as it did leaking it the day before the qualifiers begin. So it's a really tricky situation. Now, do I believe that Strongman is a corrupt sport? Absolutely no way. Do I think that there's any criminal wrongdoing in Strongman? Absolutely no way. Do I think Colin Bryce is an evil piece of shit? Absolutely no way. Colin Bryce has done so much to change Strongman for the best. I mean, you should have seen it in the early 2000s. The shows weren't that good in terms of World's Strongest Man. The events were pretty average, kind of same old every year. And Colin really changed it for the best. He's opened up other opportunities for athletes to earn money in the sport. Please bear in mind, before it was something you do on the side, a full-time job. They weren't professional strongmen. It wasn't a sport. It was just a form of entertainment that went on TV. You were kind of like, the equivalent of gladiators in the Roman Empire. You were just there to entertain. It wasn't really considered a sport, just a bunch of large, ugly-looking people lifting heavy shit. That's really what it was. So Colin Bryce changed that. He brought professionalism, a commercial sale ability to the sport. He has done a lot for the sport. But if what Luke Stoltman is saying is true, then there needs to be a serious investigation into the sport. Athletes need to band together, create some sort of union like they do in Formula One. They have the Drivers' Association, some sort of association where they have a voice as well, not just there to entertain. They actually have a voice in the direction of the sport. And I think that needs to be another feeder series for qualifying for World's Strongest Man to try and distribute power more fairly. You can't have an autocracy in sport where one person yields 90% of the power. You need to distribute power fairly. And I think by opening that up to another feeder series for qualifying for World's Strongest Man, kind of similar to what it used to be, would be far better for the sport. In addition, I believe there needs to be more transparency on how groups are chosen at World's Strongest Man and how events are chosen. I think that the fans should have a say in what groups are selected, what events are selected. How cool would that be? Open up a polling. You've got all these events laid out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you, the fans, choose which one you like. Whichever has the highest voting, that one is the one. That would be awesome, right? Having that sort of ownership of the sport as a fan, rather than it being done behind closed doors with no transparency on how the decisions are made. I think the event should be chosen by the fans, and I think that there should be another qualifier series for World's Strongest Man, and I think that there needs to be more transparency on the politics of strongman. Okay, that's my thoughts, but I do not think there's anything criminal. I have no evidence to prove there is. I think the Luke Stoltman audio clip is not enough to prove that there's corruption. We don't have the full conversation. We don't know the setting. We don't know who was in the room. We don't know what was said, why it was said, what was the circumstances, what state of mind Luke was in. So it's really hard to just go off that one clip. We need more information, more data, more evidence. If you don't have that, then you can't really say the sport's corrupt. So I don't believe World's Strongest Man finals was fixed. I don't believe that you can fix events, but I do believe there might have been some favoritism in group selection for the Stoltman brothers, because they did find themselves in the best groups, and it can't be based on just their performance alone at Giants Live and Giants Live affiliated events, because in that case, Alexei Novikov shouldn't have been in the group of death. So that cannot be the logic. That's it. That's all I've got to say on the matter. Comment below what you think. Share your thoughts with me. Please be respectful of Mark and Colin. They have both done so much for Strongman. They are both good people. And negative comments don't change the world. We need to propose ways to improve the sport with sensible ideas. Like, for example, the fans choosing the events. That's a sensible idea. Calling Mark Boyd a ratty little cunt, that's not a good idea. Apologies for my language, but someone used that. So that's not going to change anything in the world. So please come up with some cool ideas. And if we get some good ideas, maybe we can propose them and maybe they'll be taken on board. So thanks for watching this video. Have a great day. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Click that button. Turn on notifications to keep up to date with all things strength and power. Thank you for watching.